Good morning, everyone. Reese Sutton, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I'm from White Lake, North Carolina. I'm 65, almost 66. I'm the mother of three precious sons and have two beautiful daughter-in-laws who are very smart. And I have three grandchildren and two precious grandsons and a granddaughter who's beautiful, and I have a few pets along the way too. My history is that I have been in traditional business for most of my life. 10 years ago, I had an abrupt change. I was president of a company, and due to circumstances totally beyond my control, my entire life changed on a dime. I mean, like, one minute it was fine, and the next minute it was totally different. Um, I was thrown into a period of deep grief and deep depression that I stayed in for about 5 years. My entire life I fought a problem with obesity. Um, Weighed 346 pounds. Made the decision when my youngest son went to college, to have the gastric bypass surgery, and had it and never looked back. I am thrilled that I had it. However, I had problems from the standpoint of not being able to absorb vitamins and minerals. So, about 6 years ago, I was introduced to a product by a friend who was a customer of the company, and I started taking it because I was getting ready to have to go on. I was looking I had just been to the doctor, and he had told me that I was going to have to go on IVs if we couldn't come up with something else the rest of my life. And having lost as much weight as I'd lost, and the thought of being on an IV, that just kind of was counteractive from what I was trying to do. I was trying to get healthier, and I could not see that being a solution. So God just put this in my lap. And I said, okay, I'm going to try it, and I'm going to stick with it because, I need to find something if I can to keep from doing this. Where do I get it? And she said, well, a good friend of yours is the distributor. It's a network marketing company, and you can call them and order it. And it happened to be a childhood friend of mine, and I didn't know they were doing anything like that. And so I called immediately, and they said, well, you really ought to do this as business. And I said, I'm not interested in doing it as business. I don't know how, first of all, and I'm not really interested in getting involved in a pyramid scheme. I want the product. So about 3 months later, it was working. I liked it, and so I got my children on it, and I was paying for it, but I paid for them to take the product, and they liked it. And about 3 months later, they called and said, how do you want to set this up? And I said, I don't care how you set it up. I'm not going to do it as business. Fast forward to later, and I had a friend who had a really bad financial situation. Her life made a turn, and she was my age, and here we are, 60 years old, and her situation was nothing like mine, but it was more devastating probably than mine was, and mine was pretty devastating. And so she joined. I thought about going to do it. Maybe she could do this, and there happened to be a meeting when I was coming down to the beach that weekend, and I thought, well, I'll just go check it out because I needed to share it with some people that needed it for health reasons. And long story short, I got into it and was immediately introduced to Darren Hardy, who is editor of Success Magazine. He had just written the book, The Compound Effect. And that began my journey into personal development, which I needed desperately because I was still in the middle of depression, and had a heart full of grief. And I was trying to make some sense of my life. And so I started listening to The Compound Effect. I also met Bob Proctor. I got introduced to John and Sarah Raff. I got introduced to Napoleon Hill, although we had always had that book in our house. I was into personal development, and looking back over the thing for the 5 years that I was in it, I realized that if people looked at it, they would consider it a complete failure, but I considered it a success because what I was able to do during those 5 years was I was able to build my self confidence up. And I got introduced to Eric Worre and his book, Go Pro, which was probably one of the biggest things that ever happened. I finally understood network marketing on some level. And I believed in what Eric Worre said. It's a stone cold fact. We have a better way. Let's go tell the world. However, it's not quite that simple. There's been a lot of exploitation of the network marketing companies that I have watched. And if they're not done correctly, it really can be a pyramid scheme, or some semblance of one. But I started watching people that were successful, that were making money, they weren't telling me they were making money. I was seeing their name on the leaderboard, and I started watching it, and I thought, what are they doing that I'm not doing? Long story short, I met a young man who came into our company, and in 2 months was the 29th highest paid person in there. And I started following him. Everybody thought I was crazy. But I found out over the course of the next year that what he was doing was building a list. And he was branding himself. And if you want to make anything work in your life, you have to brand you. And the way I was going about everything was totally wrong. And anyway, the last year I have spent going through every course that I could go through, learning about what online marketing was about, learning what network marketing was about, learning what I could do to make myself better, and learning. I'm competitive, and I love to be in a competition, but my competition is not you, it's me. I try to be better than I was yesterday, and I try to figure out what's going on and what can make it better. So fast forward to what I'm doing right now. I'm creating a fan page, and I am creating this in order to fulfill a purpose that I have. And my purpose is, at the end of the day, when I ask myself at night, what did I do today that was constructive, that helped someone else? And how much did it help them? And if I can lay my head on the pillow at night and I can think of at least one person that I feel like I gave value to help them make some sense of their life, then I feel like I've had a successful day. You realize that your net worth is going to be the average of the top 5 people you hang around. So what you want to do is you want to find people in whatever you're doing, whatever area you're in, you want to find the top 5 people that you can associate with. Don't do about what they say. You make sure you can verify what they're doing, because if you can't verify it on a leaderboard somewhere, it's like FDA always told us, if it's not signed, it didn't happen. So what you want to do is you want to choose people with integrity and people who are doing it, and that's what I've done. And since last year when I got into this, and I've been in it about a year and a month now, I am making money. I have been on leaderboards this year, which I was never on before, and it's cool. Let me tell you, it's cool. But what I'm doing is I'm branding me. My name is Reese Sutton, and this is my business. I have different streams of income. And what I want you to do is I want to help you understand that we have a system, that there is a system out there, and we can help you learn how to do it. So I hope with that you will join my website, my fan page, and follow me, and let's find out what your dream is, and let's brand you. With that, namaste.